Welcome, football fans. Buckle up for another hard-hitting episode of Player 54 Podcast, an independent show focused solely on alternative and opportunity football. From a sunny Southwest Florida studio, here is your host, Michael Lathrop.
Hello, football fans. This is episode 128, Continental Football League. Welcome to a Player 54 and Pro Football Newsroom exclusive. For today's episode, we are blessed to welcome Continental Football League's Commissioner Mike Kelly to discuss the newest professional football league planning to kick off in the summer of 2026 and what we can expect from the league. Welcome, Mike. I appreciate you taking the time to appear on the show to discuss the reborn Continental Football League and your duties as its commissioner.
I'm excited to be here. I haven't been energized like this in about 7 years. It's just this is a great opportunity, and really looking forward to moving this thing forward.
You know, as people that follow this space, it's always very intriguing as to the leagues that are here or the ones that are about ready to come into fruition. So this is definitely a treat for me, and I know those people tuning in as well. But let's get right into it, Mike. You've had quite the incredible journey in football, from player to coach, leader, and now commissioner. What drew you to this opportunity and the role with the Continental Football League?
Yeah, I've used the word eclectic with my career because and people didn't know how to always define me. Am I a coach? Am I an administrator? You know, am I a scout? What am I? And this gives us an opportunity for me to use all those experiences now, and really bring it together. And there's a lot of things that drew me to this. One is, number one, the people that I'm working with. I know them. They're established, good football people and outstanding business of sport men. The other thing is nostalgia. My dad was a high school football coach in Waterbury, Connecticut, and we used to go to see the Waterbury Orbits play. And as soon as we started talking about reviving the Continental Football League and bringing that type of community back, that really drew me to it. And we also have a proven blueprint. This isn't coming out of the blue. We had the Ohio Valley Ironman that absolutely proved to everybody that this blueprint can be successful. It was successful, and we want to continue with it. And we think we've got something that's real here. That's something that the communities, the fans, can really grab a hold to in smaller communities and make football, you know, again, another important cog in that community.
We alluded to your career. So for those tuning in who may not know your background, I mean, you alluded to it a little bit, and I kind of just, give you a little, pat on the back there a little bit about your leadership and whatnot. But can you share a highlight or two from your career that has shaped your vision for what football can be?
Well, football's been my life. It's part of my fabric, and I've had so many great experiences at so many levels. I don't think you're going to find too many people that have been at the different levels that I've been at, and been a part of really successful programs. But early in my career, I was on a staff that we took over a college team that had just graduated a senior class that had never won a football game. They lost every game in 4 years. And so that was an interesting experience early in my career, to find out how important culture was and bringing the right people into your program and understanding how you need to be able to articulate your vision with administrators as to what can really be accomplished. The other thing was I was in the original XFL 25 years ago, and we had tremendous success in Orlando. We were selling out the Citrus Bowl. Shoot, we ran out of beer at halftime of our first game. Nobody expected that type of turnout. But I learned an awful lot there about structure and what can be done if you do it right and you stay within your wheelhouse. That there's a need and a want for this, for a level of football in these communities, and I just think that having been in the NFL, the CFL, the XFL, been a head college coach, been I represented NFL players at one point in my career. Worked in player personnel. I just think I can draw on all of this and really bring something special to the Continental Football League.
Speaking of the Continental Football League, the purpose of why we're here. It is something that is brand new yet built on historical and rich football tradition. From your perspective, why does the football ecosystem right now need the Continental Football League?
Well, football at the professional level has become so corporate, and we're about grassroots. We're about getting the community involved in what we're doing. We want to make sure that we're building something that's sustainable in the smaller markets, small towns. I talked earlier about the Waterbury Orbits, and you can get the documentary about the Pottstown Firebirds, there's history here. There's success that has been at this level, and this gives us an opportunity now to kind of draw on past experiences. We know that to bring it into a community where the community feels like this is them, and make it affordable for families to take their kids out and enjoy their local team, where they don't have that opportunity. They're priced out of a lot of leagues, and maybe accessibility to the higher levels isn't there for them. This brings real football players that have aspirations of playing at the highest level into their communities, and we can all be a part of it.
There has been a numerous amount of professional football leagues who have tried. What makes the Continental Football League different from those leagues, and why do you believe it will be successful where others have stumbled and even failed?
Well, we're not going to be a corporate entity. We don't have stiff collars. We're we're going to be relaxed a little bit, and but we're gonna do the things. We've looked at why leagues have failed. We've looked at things that were successful about those leagues that failed, and we're going to build on those successes. And we want to do things that are sustainable. We're looking at regional travel. All right, we're not going to be flying all across the country. We're looking at regional travel, so that we're on buses. That's okay, but it'll form this regional rivalries. We're also looking at having controlled roster sizes, so we're not getting ourselves extended, and we're going to have kids playing in the regions that they grew up in, or they played college football there, so the fans can actually identify with them and say, oh, I remember that kid, he lives down the street, or I remember him playing in college, and here they are playing right in their communities. So it's not this isolated, sterile type of deal. We want the fans involved. You're going to be in more confined stadiums. You're going to be able to reach out and shake hands and get to know these guys, because they're going to be living in the community, and bring in local businesses and really tie all this together, and make it a much tighter community experience than what the corporate entity experience has been for other people in other cities.
You mentioned regional, not only as far as the impact for rivalries and that type of stuff, but you're talking about regionally, with players and stuff. So will we see some sort of regional draft, local player quota? We see the CFL has roster limits as far as the American players and whatnot. But I mean, will we see a quota
Right.
of how many local players or deemed regional players must be given an opportunity on the roster?
Yeah, and it's and we used a bit of that format in the original XFL. Each team had three universities that they had territorial rights to them, and we're absolutely looking at something like that. So that we have that local feel, and so we'll have teams that they'll have first right of refusal on these players from these schools within their region, and then if the local administration, player personnel people, coaches decide that this isn't somebody that they want, then they can go back into a pool, and we'll have a regional draft. So you'll have protected players, you'll have a regional draft, and then we'll have a national draft. Because there's guys that they simply haven't had the opportunity to be seen, and they don't know how to get seen. This will give them that chance now.
How important is that local guy or regional guy to the identity of this league? I mean, is that something that you just is it more for the fan base? Is it something larger at play with that?
Well, again, I've talked quite a bit now about, community involvement. We want the community to get behind this team, just like they would their local high school team. This is going to be their team. It's going to be part of their community's fabric, and having guys that are recognizable within those communities is going to be important. We want that family feel. We want people to recognize who these guys are. You can't have a whole team that's based in New Jersey and you got most of your players out of Texas or California or Florida. Where's the tie there? There's plenty of good football in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and into New York and to regionally be there. So these guys have that opportunity to play in front of their hometown fans, play in front of their families, and be in an area where they're comfortable with the culture and the environment, because then they can thrive, and instead of being in some foreign place where they're adjusting to the community. We don't want that. We want these guys to be comfortable. We want them to really excel at what they're doing, and we want to be part of a bigger picture, and that we're ingrained in these communities, and fans and players all feel like they're one and pulling the rope in the same direction. We don't want that sterile feeling of the bigger professional leagues. I think you really got to think of this as, if anybody's ever been to a minor league baseball game, and that sense of community and the family feel, that's what we're trying to get to.
Players around this country, especially those from smaller colleges and hometown communities who typically are overlooked, are looking and starving for opportunities. What does a continental league? What does a continental football league look like for them? What can it offer them?
Well, this is their platform. Okay. If you look at the original Continental Football League, they were basically taxi squads for NFL clubs. Now those days are gone. We understand that. Because when I mentioned the Waterbury Orbits, they were a taxi squad of the New York Jets. The Pottstown Firebirds, they were a taxi squad of the Philadelphia Eagles. Those kind of days are gone. But this gives us the opportunity to let kids continue to play. And there's always going to be somebody that develops into a different type of player, and there you can go back in time and see how many guys have played some form of lower level. I don't particularly want to use the word semi-pro, because we're paying these guys, and there's nothing going to be coming out of their pocket. Okay, these are pro players. We're going to give them a good salary. We're gonna provide their uniforms and gear. This isn't something where a bunch of guys are getting together and playing. This is for real. And this gives a guy a chance to not have to worry about those kind of things. Go out and play to his best abilities, get good coaching, develop his skills. And we've got enough connections now in the NFL, the CFL, perhaps the UFL if they survive. And give guys an opportunity to get on to a tryout situation where they're going to be in a preferred tryout situation, get them signed by these other leagues so they can at least get into camp and prove that they belong there.
Of course, players deserve opportunities, right? You can't have a league without players. You can't have a league without fans. And many fans throughout cities in this country feel outpriced by the National Football League. Heck, even high-end Division I football. I know I used to be a season ticket
Yeah.
holder for Syracuse University, and before you can even buy your ticket, in certain parts of the stadium, you had to pay or do a donation of a certain number, right? So people have just been
Yep.
priced out for quite some time, and they simply just feel overlooked. I'm a diehard football fan. I want football. I want to go watch it in person. I want to take my family. So, how is the Continental Football League going to bring back those fans?
Well, that's the thing that we're trying to fill that gap, is that so many people feel like they don't have a chance to take their family to a game, and really sit down and enjoy and know who the players are, and be engaged with them. We're going to be community involved. We're going to have local businesses involved. This is a fan-based owned league. The fans can actually own a part of the team, with minimal contribution. But we want that engagement. We want the players or the coaches and players to know who the community is. We want the community to know who the coaches and players are, and really get involved with them. And, have a family be able to afford to take all the kids to a game, sit down, have a couple of hot dogs, watch, a good level of football, enjoy the night out. In the summertime, we're going to be playing in late May, June into July, and go out and be engaged, and again, get back to that community involvement, and feeling comfortable about going to see your local team play.
You mentioned community identity is at the core of this league. What excites you most about seeing local fans rallying around their Continental Football League team?
Well, you're not just going to be somebody that sits in the stands. Yeah, I know fan bases get excited in every league now. And shoot, when I was a kid, you didn't see a whole stadium full of people wearing jerseys. That wasn't a thing. Now it is. But there's a lot of cost that comes to that. And again, we want to be in places where the NFL, the CFL, the UFL don't necessarily have a reach. We want to come into small communities, where people can feel like they have something of their own, and that they're actually invested in it, and part of it, and that like I said earlier, that everybody's pulling a rope in the same direction. And that's your local hometown team. This is a grassroots deal, and I think it's something that people want. I think it'll be enjoyable for them. We're looking at some things with rules that'll be a little bit different, to make the game a little faster, have some fun with it, and really be something that they can be proud of.
If I'm a fan, player, heck, even a potential owner, it sounds amazing to have that opportunity to own, a piece of your team, kind of that Green Bay Packers, if you will. And I'm tuning into this and
Yep.
learning about the Continental Football League for the first time. What is the one thing you want me or them to know about the Continental Football League right now?
That this is going to be a sustainable part of their community, that we're going to come in and make an impact, that we're going to get local businesses involved. We're going to get a fan base that believes that. We're going to have fan advisory boards, so people can tell us what their wants and needs are, so we can address those, not just be this corporate isolated thing that people don't feel like they can have a part of. We want to have these advisory boards. We want to engage, and make it different, for these communities and for these fans, and make it a fun thing. You look at it, the Super Bowl has completely gone out of people's reach. If you're looking at an opportunity that local people can't afford to go to it. It's all corporate now. We just want to feel like a homegrown, grassroots, let's go have some fun family deal. But the community is going to be part of this. We're going to have local businesses involved. We're going to have those fan advisory boards, and the coach and the players and coaches are going to be involved in the community. And it's not going to be, oh, you guys stand behind velvet ropes and then you can look over at those people. We're going to be involved. We're going to shake hands and be part of it.
Let's fast forward, right? We could talk about what is about to come, but let's fast forward. When we look back a few years from now, what do you hope people will say about Commissioner Mike Kelly's leadership of the Continental Football League?
Well, I hope that they recognize that we built something of sustainability, and that the game that I love, that has provided me with an awesome life, that I've given back to it, but brought the game to places that other people didn't think it would ever happen for them again, and give those communities the opportunity to really, feel like this is theirs, and get ingrained in these communities and build something that's lasting.
Well, I always give my guests one kind of just open soapbox moment. So I didn't ask every question in the book, right? I try to be honorable to the time that we've been given here. So I'll give you your soapbox. What's maybe the one or two things that I didn't ask, but you think is pretty important to the whole premise of the league and its future or something like that? What is it? What's the one thing you think is important before you leave here today that you think needs to be said?
I think if anybody got anything out of this, is that we want to be part of your community. That we, this isn't a sterile corporate deal. That we want to be part of local businesses. We want to be part of the community. We want you to start following us on. We're on every platform. Okay, so we're building all that out. Start following us. See how this thing is growing. Watch our development. We've already got things plotted out. First month, second month, third month. Tryouts are going to be starting in October. Get involved. Join the conversation. Let us know what you want out of a league like this. Show up. That's the biggest thing, is show up. If we're having a local tryout, it's going to be advertised. Come out and see who these guys are that are trying out. All right, because they're going to be people that they're going to be regionally and locally there. Get involved in the fan advisory board. See how you can be a part of the voice of how this is built, and be there for game day, because it's going to be fun. And really, that's what I hope everybody gets out of this, is that this is going to be for you. This isn't some separate entity deal. And come out and look. Football builds community like no other sport. No other sport is even close to the way football builds community. And all I got to do is talk about how many reunions happen within football. The only thing I can even compare it to is hockey in Canada. Football, though, goes all the way across the continent, on both sides of the 49th parallel. Football brings the community together like no other sport, and this is our opportunity now to bring communities together and have a common goal of something that's going to be a vital cog in each one of these small towns.
Mike, I appreciate your time and having you on the show to discuss the Continental Football League and your role as commissioner. Your office and teams have a busy offseason and lead up to its inaugural kickoff. So I wish you and your teams the best of luck as you prepare for the upcoming season. If your schedule allows it, of course, and if you're interested, I would love to have you back before the season, maybe during or after season, again, however your schedule allows, to kind of give us a little bit of an update of the state of the league and what's to come.
Absolutely. Again, we're talking about fans being involved. You got to know, and we want to know. We want to hear from you also, so that we can really address those things, and we're all pulling this in the same direction. And I'm excited for it. This is going to be a fun ride. And Michael, I really appreciate your involvement in it now. And let's keep this thing rolling now. We got it. The door's open. Let's go right through it and make this thing right.
Yeah, sounds like this is going to be the People's League. So if that's the case, I'm all about it. So it sounds great. So thank you, Mike, and wish you guys the best of luck.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We are grateful to the Continental Football League and Commissioner Kelly for providing us with the opportunity to sit down and discuss their league and vision. Through the years, I have been blessed to connect with an array of professional football coaches, executives, players, and media personalities. If one thing is certain, it would be that the nation's most popular sport has historically not stacked up to other American professional sports pyramids, most notably baseball, hockey, and even recently soccer. It is well overdue for our country to apply this logical approach to establishing a true professional football system. I like a lot of what Commissioner Kelly shared, and I'm excited and hopeful to see what the Continental Football League can accomplish in their first year back. I look forward to having you all back for an all-new episode of Player 54 Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into today's show. You can support the show and our partners by using code PLAYER54 at checkout at any of the following websites: RoyalRetros.com, where you can save 15%. TrueVictory.com, where you can save 15%. BuckedUp.com, where you can save 20%. ImpactMouthguards.com, where you can save 10%. HobbyArmor.com, where you can save 5%. JustMeatJerky.com, where you can save 10%. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe and rate Player 54 Podcast on your platforms of choice. Do you have a question or topic you would like to have discussed on the show? Message us via social media or send an email to player54podcast@gmail.com.